Hey, everybody. Welcome to
Dog.
Big Blend Radio's Vacation Station Travel Show with Nancy and Lisa. Every third Tuesday, we talk about the oldest city in Louisiana, and that is Natchitoches. And if you haven't been there, we're going to give you 22 reasons to go there in 2022. Like Tracy Chapman needs to write a new song.
Yeah,
for you
really.
all.
Come on.
Natchitoches is really one of our favorite places. We've been there a few times over the years. I've like 3, 4, 5 times, I think.
Mhm.
And we keep going back, and there's more than 22 reasons. I decided, hey, 2022, let's write an article on 22 things to do. Well, the problem is there's way more than 22 things that are unique to
Mhm.
Natchitoches and unique to Louisiana to experience in Natchitoches. But I encourage you to go to the website. It is natchitoches.com, and that's Natchitoches, Natchitoches. So check it out. And we're excited to have our good friends back on the show, Arlene Gould and Kelli West, both from the Natchitoches Convention and Visitor Bureau. So welcome, ladies. How are you doing?
Hi.
We're doing
Hi.
very well, thank you. Surviving the holidays, it's all good.
You see,
Good.
so the Christmas, see, this is one of those things, festivals and
Mhm.
is a big deal. We put family fun, and apparently our readers really resonate. Kelly, we did that one conversation about what there's to see and do for families in Natchitoches, and apparently they really like that. Apparently family fun in Natchitoches
Mhm.
is a big deal. And I know right now we're recording this and you're in the mid of what, 95 years of Christmas history in Natchitoches.
Our 95th Christmas festival year, that's correct.
Wow.
Wow. So the
Wow.
oldest cities
That's
rocking it.
awesome.
Festivals and
Awesome.
events. I remember it's like celebrated in Natchitoches. Natchitoches knows how to
Mhm.
party. Yeah, how many? I mean, I know it's different because of COVID times and things are up and down, right? We all know that. Even 2022, as we're talking, you never know. But festivals, it seems to be, is a huge part of Natchitoches culture. Do you think it is because you have so many different cultures living together?
Part of the reason. I mean, we always throw in food and music, with meat pies and little Zydeco music and jazz festivals. So we have, the Zydeco Festival, Meat Pie Festival. But we just enjoy life and celebrating any occasion, really.
So it's basically, hey, it's Mardi Gras. Have us Mardi Gras well, you're in, Louisiana. So you have Mardi Gras
Mhm.
coming up. You have like in spring, it seems like you celebrate art and flowers and music again. Yeah, music and food. That's basically what's going on.
So basically, any reason for a party, let's go.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a Louisiana thing too. There's a
Mhm.
festival. They joke there's a festival for everything, for all the fruits and vegetables, and if it
Cool.
walks, runs, flies, there's probably a festival for it. And Natchitoches is no different. And the fact that we have the downtown riverbank area that is perfect for a festival setting.
Yeah.
It can be, barricaded off. It's got the built-in stage and the amphitheater and it's water access. And, it is perfectly built for festivals and events. And I think that's a big
Awesome.
part of it too.
And that the
Yeah.
riverfront is one of the
Mm.
22 things too, because it's part of the heritage district, the historic district they have was like 33 blocks of history, shopping, restaurants, meat pies,
Mm.
that's a
Yeah.
candy. But you've got the riverfront, so you can walk the riverfront, you can paddle the river, well, Cane River Lake, right? It's beautiful. That's one of my favorite things is that beautiful riverfront district, but it's events.
Mm.
But the Cane River Queen, we can still go on that, right? And go paddle.
Yep, year round. So, yeah, or you can paddle. You can go on the River Queen, or you can paddle yourself in a kayak or stand up. What do you call it? The paddle,
Hydro bike.
the hydro bikes. We've got a little bit of everything down there.
Oh, I
Hydro
love that.
bikes.
We haven't done
Huh.
that yet.
No, we haven't done that. Sounds
Yet.
good.
Yet. Can we have wine on a hydro bike? I think that might not be
You're
a good thing. I don't think.
Why not?
Well, you can have wine on the Cane River Queen. I know that.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved that boat ride going down and just,
Oh, so
going
cool.
seeing everyone's homes and the birds and
This,
just it
this
was
is
so
the time
beautiful.
of year for eggnog daiquiris.
Ooh.
She's going to the other thing, the food and drink, drive-through
Mm.
daiquiris. Kelly, you made
Mm.
sure that we had drive-through daiquiris.
That's so
And
much fun.
we did, and right before a radio show too.
That was a great show that
It
night.
was.
Yeah, by the
and-
way,
No, and she was
you.
so cool. She comes in and she brought us, you got pizza. We had pizza. You brought us pizza for it.
Right.
Like you knew we were going to be hungry.
Mm,
And we had drive-through daiquiris and we're like, hey, y'all,
We're good to go.
we're here.
Yeah.
Well, the
Mm.
food in Natchitoches. Okay, so that's, I mean, everyone, the 22, reasons, we're just going to go all over this, but I mean, there's just so much. You can see the article up on nationalparktraveling.com, and just type in 22 Natchitoches. And good luck with Natchitoches, right? But
Natchitoches.
see, there it is. It's
Go,
like, yeah,
Natchitoches.
Natchitoches. The food is a big deal. So
It's
the
a
meat
cheer.
the meat pie is a big deal. I know that, like New Orleans has beignets and, everyone
Mm.
has a thing. There's Boston clam chowder, right? Maine has lobsters, but you guys had meat pies. Where did that start? Was it Lazion's, the restaurant that started it, do you think?
Well,
Or
They're the famous meat pie kitchen. Chef Lazion, created his own mixture of meats. He was a butcher and he started and he opened his restaurant in 1967, but the meat pies were here way before him.
Mm.
And I guess it was an Indian thing, A lot of people refer to them as like little Spanish empanadas, but
Mhm.
it's just a mixture of, the meat, the beef and the pork and the seasonings, and it's in a little pastry crust shaped like a half moon. And so there you have your little meat pie. And it's
We like
actually a state legislated official food item. The Natchitoches meat pie is an
see?
official food. Yep.
So you have to go to Natchitoches just for that, at least. One of our things,
Exactly.
staying in Natchitoches, we've stayed at the Sweet Cane Inn. There's bed and breakfast. There's RV and camping. There are, I know, a lot of Airbnbs, vacation rentals, and then there's hotels. We've stayed at the Best Western and Holiday Inn, which I love because it's really easy. And I think for families, it's a really cool. They've got swimming pools. It's a cool little corridor of hotels over there. And then you've got, where I'm going with this, don't you, Kelly?
Mm.
It's about the French Market Express, because this is all
Oh,
part
yeah.
of the gas station
Mm.
food trail. It's not just Natchitoches, but this is no man's land. And we'll touch on no man's land in a second, but which is a very historic region. But this gas station food trail is something very Louisiana. You don't normally go to gas stations and get really good food, but apparently in your state you do. And in Natchitoches,
Yes,
in the French
indeed.
Market Express, heck yeah.
Yep, I've heard that a lot over the last few weeks, actually, that, gas station food in Louisiana is not like gas station food everywhere else. And it is,
That's true.
even for Thanksgiving, for instance, the gas stations were open for Thanksgiving Day meals and people were saying, where do we go eat? And we were like,
Yes.
you go to the gas
No way.
station. And they were like,
No way.
want
That's
that."
a true fill up.
But they were
Wow.
serving hearty, healthy food, like food, not just, fried something or a hot dog on a roller. Like they were serving actual food that day. But yes, our
Wow.
gas stations are definitely not created equal. Across the United States, we have a soft spot for Louisiana gas stations, but those along the no man's land corridor offer a little something extra. French Market Express is definitely one of those. They make hundreds of meat pies a day.
Yummy.
Known for their
Mm.
yam cakes. They have lots of different foods and tastes, and
Wine.
they make their own gingerbread. They have a bakery
Yes,
in the
they
gas
do.
station. That's
I
not,
know, this is
that's
awesome.
not usual. So
Awesome.
We love it. We would go from the hotel and that's the thing. We'd go out, all these wonderful restaurants with you, and then we'll be like, it's 9:00. We need wine and we need a snack because we're still working. And you
Well,
just go
that's
from your
true.
hotel, you take a
because
walk.
you can
it's
also
good.
buy wine at
We,
French.
we can
Yeah.
buy, trust me. I think every show you're on, they get the most promotion than anybody. That's they
Well,
do. Well, because it's so cool. Like you can just
it's
go to the gas
so
station, get wine and a
convenient and
meal.
it's good. It's
Yeah.
like I kept saying to
Lazio's and
Lisa,
just like Kathy Frederick, the General Mercantile Store,
See?
they're unique.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
Caffrey Frederick is downtown in your historic
Hmm.
district, and this is the oldest mercantile in the state, right?
Correct, since 1863.
Wow.
Wow, that's
And
so
you can buy
cool.
candy, you can buy gifts, you can buy toys, you can get things for your house done, you can get your car keys, your house keys done. You can get, I mean, it's a bona fide mercantile, but like if you need a
It
sweater, you
takes
could probably get one.
you
Get
could browse
horseshoes,
through
you
there
can get
for
barbed
hours.
wire.
Barbed wire?
Yeah.
You get a little bit of everything.
Why
Yeah, but I
not?
mean, you really, when you go in there, you could be there for hours. You
Mhm.
really could. Just
Definitely.
Yeah.
meandering down aisle after aisle and looking at everything that they have. And it's just a big mixed bag
Yeah.
It
of
is.
things.
It really is.
Awesome.
Well, the
Yeah, it's
downtown district for shopping, to me, it's like the first thing people should do when they get to Natchitoches, check into your hotel or bed and breakfast, depending on the time, or your Airbnb or wherever you're staying. Then
Mm.
go to the visitor bureau. Come in and see
Yeah.
Kelli and Arlene and everyone working there. Everyone's friendly. You get all the brochures. And if you're there and they're closed at that time, there's brochures on the outside. So you're hooked up. And there's the Grand Decor Visitor Center for the history. If you want to connect with everyone from the Cane River National Heritage Area, which they do an awesome walking tour. I promote this a lot because
Yeah.
that to
that's
me is
cool.
like, that's your first thing to do, whether it's self-guided with the brochures you have at the visitor center, or you go with the Cane River Heritage Area. You get the idea, you will get history, you'll understand where you're walking and how amazing, like how diverse. I mean, it's the history that happened. Stuff went down in your neighborhood. I'm just saying.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody, I mean, it's like England, France, Spain, Native American culture. You got, this whole like, African American culture. Everybody has a place of history
Mhm.
in your area.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what makes
Amazing.
it so much fun.
Yeah. So that's the first thing to do. And then you're
Mm.
also connected to no man's land. And this is something, you guys are still celebrating it, aren't you? Like,
We are. We started out as a 3-year celebration, and we're just going to continue because
see?
it's really taken off. Why don't you tell them about the documentary that aired last night?
Oh, that's right. I
So-
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we documentary filmmakers have been working on a documentary about no man's land and the history and the significance. And it finally aired on LPB. It premiered on Louisiana Public Broadcasting. And we'll have that soon available for people to view. But
Cool.
it was a great opportunity that we couldn't pass up because we needed to document the information about no man's land. They had some really amazing historians that took part in that. And those historians who really have studied that over the years won't be around for forever. So being able to document it in this documentary was a huge stepping point in making sure that no man's land is never forgotten.
And no man's land
Awesome.
really is when, things were changing. We got the Louisiana Purchase happening. And I'm always looking at all these dates. And we have this whole calendar of historical stuff that we do. And it's like, Louisiana Purchase did this. I'm like, well, I thought it just did it over here, but this is the thing. And whatever was going on in the country and the rest of the world, it took time. And maybe the Battle of New Orleans was going on there, and a lot of people don't know about the Battle of New Orleans either, and that's not far from you. But no man's land, it was like 3 years where it was just lawless. And there was
Pirates.
no one
It was
running
disputed
anything.
territory between the Louisiana Purchase and Spanish Texas. Spanish said it was there, the Spain said it was theirs. The Louisiana Purchase, when France, and through all of that, they thought it was theirs. And so it was this sliver of land that just remained without law. There was no government, no law, no king, no country.
Sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
I know. I think a lot of people are thinking, hey, why not?
Sounds
Just,
good. Let's go.
It's cool. Well, there's everybody's arguing with everybody. I think we should just have no man's land and just everyone stop arguing on stuff,
Yeah.
But I think it's really interesting because you think about where we are today with our phones, with our watches, with everything is so digital and communication is so, look how we're talking, we're in 2 different states. No man's land had none of that going on at all.
No,
I mean, they
did
didn't even
not.
have mosquito spray back then.
They had a lot of
needed it.
They had a lot of mosquitoes.
Yes, they
funny.
did.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Forest
some
area.
things never change. Mosquitoes is one of them for sure.
Mosquitoes is one of them.
Mosquitoes for sure, but the history is so neat. And writing this 22, putting that together, this list, because again, there's just way more than 22 things, but looking at all the historic sites, you have scenic trails. You've got the historic trails. You have El Camino Real de los Tejas, which is really important. It goes from Laredo, Mexico to Natchitoches. You guys are the final spot. This was a royal road and used by the Indians, used by the Spaniards. And it's really when, again, part of, well, you guys were Texas at that time for a little bit, right? Is that what happened?
That Texas was part of
Uh-oh.
Louisiana. We weren't part of Texas. They were part of Louisiana.
Well, what does Natchitoches say about that?
Yeah.
No, the capital of Texas was in Los Azaleas, which is right there near Robeline. So that's 15 miles. It's 15 miles
Yeah.
from downtown Natchitoches.
Yeah, it's amazing when you follow this trail. All the Fort Jessup is on there. You've got the Louisiana Country Music Museum, which is really neat. The
Nice.
Rebel State Park.
That's so cool.
And Kisatchie National Forest is just down the road. That's another huge thing. It's the only national forest in the state of Louisiana, also part of the Longleaf Scenic Byway, Longleaf Scenic Trail.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We saw piggies out there.
Yeah, we did.
Pretty.
Wild,
And
wild.
is
Wild
and
boar.
in the
Wild boar, yeah.
azaleas, I call them little piggies, but I know some people may call them meat pies, but right? I don't know.
They were pretty
Azaleas,
big, actually.
they
They
were
weren't
pretty-
little.
well,
They're
we had
pretty
babies.
big, but
I know.
Yeah,
You
they're
know.
pretty big.
yeah.
yeah.
But the
And
azaleas,
you don't get outside of your car and go, here, piggy, piggy.
No.
No.
apparently not.
Yeah, little piggy.
No.
Let's
Well,
go to
yeah.
market.
Hey, piggy, piggy.
But I wanted
No.
to touch on the azaleas for people to know, because isn't that a big deal in spring, is to see all the wild azaleas and
Mhm.
dogwoods and your magnolia trees out
That's
in the wild,
beautiful.
Yes, they do
So-
have an azalea trail through Kisatchie, and then also there's a season for the dogwoods. It's normally around Easter, and then of course the magnolias. So just a lot of people that come here have never seen a real live magnolia flower, and some of
Wow.
them are huge. I mean, some of them are
Yeah.
really big, and they're just amazed.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
for me, I've tripped out seeing them in the wild. That
Yeah.
was the first time I'd seen them on a hiking trail and not in a city that was propagated and all of that, cultivated and propagated or whatever. And this was like, I'm a wild magnolia. Look how beautiful I am. I'm like, no, you way, dude. I'm
Well,
like,
and that's,
It's cool.
and that's
Yeah.
what's really great about the magnolias too. Even in Natchitoches, we have several different kinds of magnolias. So they actually
Mhm.
bloom year round because different ones bloom at different times during the year. So we actually have magnolias that bloom pretty much year round because we have so many different varieties around town.
wow.
It's a beautiful tree, even when it's not blooming. It's still a beautiful
Those
tree.
leaves
you
are
know?
beautiful.
Lush.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the leaves stay, they don't shed their leaves in the winter, and they're, thick,
Oh.
beautiful glossy leaves,
Yeah.
they're really pretty.
Well,
Great
It's
speaking
a
of
really
plants,
beautiful tree.
you've
And they
got,
are
okay,
great for decorating.
you've got longleaf pines, obviously, right?
Yep.
Longleaf Trail and all of that. Yeah, beautiful out there. But you also have Briarwood Nature Reserve for Carolyn Dorman's. Beautiful. If you want to go see wildflowers and the flowers of Louisiana, that's a place to go. You have Beau Jardin and your downtown, the garden there in the
Mhm.
downtown waterfront area. But one thing I wanted to touch on is Cane River National Historical Park. You've got Melrose Plantation, and even the downtown and all over these giant oak trees and the
Mhm.
resurrection fern. This is something that you're not going to see in the Southwest.
No,
Yeah, those
not at
are the
all.
live oak trees and the resurrection fern. It is amazing because you can be out there on one day, you can be out there in the morning, and the resurrection fern is brown and shriveled. And if you get a light afternoon rain, it just blossoms and perks up, and there's a lush, beautiful green. It's just amazing.
Wow.
It really is.
So there's a natural aspect to the area mixed in with history. You've got in the downtown district, you can go, you've got the fort, you say it, Fort
Fort Saint Jean Baptiste.
See, you guys have to say all that. I'll get there. I'll get there. I'll give me a daiquiri and I'll get it right. I finally learned how to spell daiquiri correctly. But anyway, you know what? It's just not, listen, it's not that easy. Daiquiri is really
Yep.
what it is.
Exactly.
What?
Daiquiri.
Okay.
DAC.
All righty then.
There's no C.
D-A-I.
It's
D-A-I.
D-A-I.
That's what she said, die.
No,
Um,
anyway. Anyhow. it's
Moving
interesting.
right along.
You can get them through a drive-through, but you can't drink them in your car
No,
That's
or in
right.
public.
no.
So we'll behave. You do have a brewery. Speaking of
Yes.
liquid fun, Cane River Brewing Company, which is awesome. And now they've got a bistro. I see they've got a bistro attached as well.
They've been serving food throughout the pandemic. And so
Oh,
they
cool.
created a bistro and they have appetizers that they serve through the bistro. Yes.
Oh,
And you know, the brewery is in a historic building as well, because that used to be an old cottonseed press mill. So, you know,
Wow.
that you see that a lot in Natchitoches, that, you know, you may have something really fun and cool, but it may be in a historic building that has maybe been reimagined or, you know, so there's always that history connection somewhere along the way.
well, the architecture, when you're walking the downtown district,
Mm.
Yes.
you could have Victorian mansions to just like, hey, now you've got, like you're saying, here's, you know, they've got warehouses, historic warehouses around the corner. And so there's all these, I know there's a historic tours that they have typically done over the years, over the fall, tours of the homes. Over Christmas, they do the holiday tours of the homes. And so it's a really cool way, but there's all the bed and breakfasts that really are part of, I think, do such a great job of keeping a story alive of a building and whoever built those homes. And the cemetery, let's talk about that cemetery, the American cemetery, because you got some famous people resting there. And isn't it the oldest cemetery in the
too.
state?
It's the oldest cemetery in the Louisiana Purchase territory. It dates back to the early 1700s.
Wow. And don't they, isn't Saint Denis, am I saying it correctly? Say his name?
Yes. That's
Said
correct.
he said to be buried there.
He
Legend has
is.
it.
They just don't know where.
Oh,
Ooh, let's go there
Ooh,
and like do
let's
a
find
thing
it.
at night and go, come on,
Well,
show
so
yourself.
where the cemetery is now was actually the second site of the original fort. Because where the first fort was, it was right along the river and it eroded and it basically flooded all the time. And so they abandoned it and went up
Up to the
to
hill.
the hill, the highest point, which
That's the cemetery.
is now the cemetery. Because think about it, it was the fort. So when people died,
Yeah.
they just buried them outside the fort. So then when
they
the
rolled
fort-
them down the hill.
No,
Yes,
Nancy.
no. But when the fort
Sorry.
left that area, there was still a cemetery there. And so,
Yeah.
yes, it's got graves dating back to the 1760s. I believe one of our travel counselors said that's the earliest marking that she could find. Now there's
Wow.
earlier graves, but they don't have markings because at that time they would just mass bury.
Yeah.
would just,
Wow.
You know, put
Wow.
everyone together basically. So that's why I say they don't really know where he is in the cemetery, but he is buried there.
Wow.
Wow.
How
But
cool.
another interesting fact about that particular cemetery is that's where the
Cemetery.
Steel Magnolia theme for the funeral was filmed in that cemetery.
That's
The
so
American
cool.
Cemetery.
Cool.
See, and that's that. You see, she's getting that tie in there to the whole film trail. You've got a Natchitoches
Mhm.
film trail because you've had a number of films filmed out there, but then Steel
Mhm.
Magnolia's film trail. You could do like a whole weekend just going to all the sites of all the films and Steel Magnolias. Robert Harling, you know, is from Natchitoches, wrote it about his sister. Steel Magnolias, the play, and then here it is, the movie, and it was filmed there.
Mhm.
I mean, you had Olympia Dukakis in your town. I'm
And
just
Dolly
jealous.
too. And
Yeah,
Julio, and
everyone.
Kelly Field and Daryl Hannah. So
Yeah.
Wow.
we have a few of those ladies hanging around.
So it's
for-
been
for a
over
while.
30 years thinking about that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
what is, you know, so you've got the whole film trail. And what I like about the film trail, it takes you to a lot of the historical sites, including St. Augustine, which is one of the most beautiful churches. And that's got a cool cemetery too. And that's where Clementine Hunter is buried as well, the
Yes.
folk
Mhm.
artist, the very famous folk artist who lived at and worked at Melrose Plantation, another historic site. Man,
Right.
are we getting through this 22 or what?
Yeah.
Right along.
Oh
Yeah.
man. So you got Melrose Plantation, Cane River Creole National Historical Park, that is Oakland and Magnolia Plantations. And Oakland is a bicentennial farm, which is
Yes,
neat to go
they both
and
are.
really experience. And it's so well interpreted for people to understand the history, and Melrose being like a haven for the arts. You know, I look at it that way for Melrose. But that is all part of the Cane River National Heritage Trail as well, which is another scenic driving route. Wow. We're just-
Yeah, we have a few of those.
yeah, you do.
Like,
Mhm.
you were talking about the El Camino Real, and now we have the Cane River National Heritage Area that you're talking about. We also have the Jefferson Highway, which once led
Yes.
from Winnipeg, Canada, all the way to New Orleans, came through Natchitoches, and then we have our Christmas holiday Trail of Lights. So we have a few trails. All roads lead through Natchitoches or to Natchitoches.
See
And
it?
of course, the Steel Magnolias Trail and the film trail.
That's right.
Film
The
trail.
film trail. That's right.
Everything's trailing. And the Jefferson, talking about that, the Jefferson Highway, you recently created a park with signage documenting and
Mhm.
making it a landmark that people remember this history about the Jefferson Highway.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was the first intercontinental highway between Canada and the United States, all the way through the Louisiana Purchase. When cars were rolling off the assembly line, they needed a road, so they built a road for vacationers, for people from the north to come down to the south.
Wow.
So,
It's the original Snowbird Highway. You think
Exactly.
about it. Yeah, listen, we've done those winters up there. You need to go.
oh yeah,
One thing I wanted to touch on, which is also very important, obviously there's a lot of food and drink, so many historic sites, but downtown, two places that are connected and very important is the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and the Northwest Louisiana History Museum. In architecture, talk about the difference. We were talking about architecture being different. When you walk into, it's completely night and day. This building's won awards, hasn't it, for the architecture?
yes,
Louisiana Sports Hall
international
of Fame.
awards for the architecture. I always compared to, well, in 1714, we had Fort St. Jean Baptiste, and then 300 years later, we now have the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum. Because it's a very modern looking building. A lot of people say it looks out of place in the historic district, but it does have its rightful place, some
Mhm.
300 years later. We've come this
Wow.
far, and that's where, it's a beautiful facility. It
But
really
the
is.
outside of it blends in with the downtown. It
Mhm.
blends in with the colors and everything, and it's
Mhm.
so unexpected when you go in. You're like, you feel like you're
Wow.
in London
Yeah.
or something. You feel like
Well,
you're in
that's
a
what
big
the
city.
elements were designed for it to flow. It kind of represents Cane River Lake,
Mm.
so, and the plantation shutters and some different elements of the design to
Mm,
blend
that's
in.
cool.
Yeah, that's what I find is a lot of people, say, oh, it looks so out of place. But then when you go in and they tell you about why it looks the way it looks and what the architect was thinking and why he did it the way he did it, then you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes complete sense.
Yeah,
And
it does have
I
a
can
flow to
see
it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's got a cool car in there too.
Yes,
It's got so
it
much
goes
history.
fast.
Well, it has, Clementine Hunter's histories in there. I mean, there's just so much from all the different cultural aspects. I feel like
Mhm.
that's why I say when you go to Natchitoches, go downtown first. Go to those museums because it'll
Mhm.
help you understand the plantation history
Mhm.
more. It just kind of gives you this overview of who settled Natchitoches, who was here before, who's still here now. I mean, it's just a good balance. Do you think the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame being in Natchitoches, not only is it because because they could have gone to New Orleans, right? Why Natchitoches? Is it because of the university there? I mean, did you have so many teams? And I mean, Natchitoches to me is cool. It's the oldest settlement, so it kind of makes sense. But I wonder about the university being
They
connected
actually
with that.
started that music. They started the Sports Hall of Fame in 1958. It goes back that far,
No
and
way.
it used to be housed on campus at Northwestern University.
Okay, so it does have that
Oh,
tie
that
there.
makes
Coliseum.
sense.
It kind of went around the Coliseum, all the displays. So that's how it kind of originated. I think it moved to Shreveport for a while, but it didn't. So we brought it back to Natchitoches, and now
Good
it has
job.
its rightful museum and its rightful place. And every
Mhm.
year, every summer, they do a new induction.
No, yeah,
So
that's right. They have a party.
that's right.
Big
We
party.
celebrate.
Another
We
party.
celebrate some more.
Well, the other thing
Yay.
too, tying back to NSU, you've got your university. You've also got that's where we went to the folk festival. We love the folk festival, the folk
Mhm.
Yeah,
music
that was
festival. We
so
love that.
cool.
And we were there
Mm,
at the 40th annual, and I really wanted to come back, but it's an indoor
yeah.
event, so I know. Do you have?
Do you know that was the last in person that we've had for the folk festival was the 40th annual.
Yeah.
Because last year it was virtual, and I think this year too is probably going to be. They're not sure yet if it'll be in
Well,
person.
Mm,
everything's so up and down. So like
mm.
everyone's just, go to Natchitoches.com, Natchitoches, Natchitoches.com. I did that without reading. But if you go to the website, you'll be able to stay up to date with events. I always say call or check the website of the event or the Facebook,
Absolutely.
because things can change right down to the
All
last
the
minute.
time. Yep.
But pretty much everywhere we're talking about, we visited you during the pandemic. And
Mhm.
so a lot of these places are open. You can go to Kisachi, you can do a lot of what we're talking about. So, if we do for some horrible reason have a lockdown again, you can still do a lot of what we're talking about. But going to the university, you have the Creole Heritage Center there, the Creole Cultural Heritage Center, which is really good for genealogy. And you also have the Williamson Museum, which really talk about getting into the culture. So, and you have the Genealogical Historical Center also downtown in that beautiful building. It's a church,
Mhm.
right? And
No, it's the old courthouse
that's right, the courthouse. But is it the Basilica that I'm thinking about, that one church?
across the street. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So let me see. I think we've covered a lot of this. Okay, let me see. I'm going through this list here. There's
I'm
just
not
so
looking
much.
at the list, but one thing we were talking about attractions and things, but the Alligator Park, it's open year round. And that's really interesting because, a lot of people have never really been close to an alligator, but you can actually go there and either wade with them in the water, the small ones, or even hold an alligator. So Alligator Park is really interesting too. So
You gonna
Very
go swim with
educational.
the alligators?
Go learn.
You gonna
Yeah.
go
Maybe not
really
swim.
I'd
I-
wade, but
I'm
not
like,
swim.
I'll kayak with them. I'll kayak with them. I dig them. I think they're so
they-
beautiful. The
They
other
got
thing
some
we
big
didn't talk about,
alligators.
that's a cool family attraction. We haven't done that
Mm.
yet, but
Oh, dark
the
they're dinosaurs.
the one too I wanted to not leave out, one of the coolest family attractions, the Lost Mining Adventure.
Lost
That
Treasure.
Mm,
yeah, Lost Adventure, the mining adventure for kids. I know,
that's
Kelly, you
cool.
take your boys out there and they love it. We loved it. And you learn
Mhm.
about geology. You get to,
Yeah, that's
basically
cool.
hunt for treasures, right? In that big sluice
Mhm.
that comes down. And they also do the dark woods and then the Christmas. So that's a big
That's a great
attraction for
place.
Natchitoches, I
Yes.
think.
It is, with
Mm.
more to come.
Oh,
They're working
Ooh.
on their next phase. Well, actually, there's kind of two
Ah.
things going on right now, but they expanded their concession stand and picnic areas, and they're working on a couple of other things. So they're
Ooh.
definitely going to be a place you're going to want to visit.
oh,
Cool.
cool. So definitely for
Nice.
families. Dark Woods is the haunted
Mhm.
experience during
Mhm.
Halloween. Christmas, it's like a Christmas village and, beautiful. And then all year round is, take your kids and they get to, go basically looking through water at gemstones and picking out their treasures is really what it is, and learning geology and finding shark's teeth and all kinds of cool stuff. So there's a lot. There's a lot of food,
cool.
there's a lot of shopping, a lot of historic sites,
Mhm.
a lot of art, a lot of culture. You've got to go. So check them out, everyone, Natchitoches.com. And ladies, once again, thank you for joining us. It's always a
Yes.
pleasure hanging out with you both, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. And I know we're going to have to come to Natchitoches in a time frame other than July.
Other than
We're gonna plan
Yeah.
something for other than July, and you know, but well,
Yeah.
we really, you know, as long as we get through again, that's all we care about, really.
Well, you're welcome any time of the year. So
Oh, we
come on.
love it.
Thank you.
We love it. We love it. We'll
Mhm.
hopefully see you both in 2022. Everyone, Natchitoches.com is the website. The article is up on nationalparktraveling.com, and keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. We now air daily, Sunday through Saturday, or whatever it is, every day except for major holidays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Central time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So thank you, ladies.
Thanks, guys.
You take care.